think it's ahead.
Yes.
Anyways, in December, they didn't sell.
All
They had
right.
a bad December.
Good morning, everybody.
Bad December. Everything was through cheap.
Morning. All right. Today is Daf Yud, Seches Nazir. So we left off. No, we didn't. We got to the Mishnah on top of Yud Amud Aleph. All right, and away we go. Omar. So if he says somebody vows or he says Amra Parazu Hareini Nazira Imamedes Ani. This cow is saying, I will become a Nazir if I stand up. Or he says, Omer Hadelas Hazeh, his door is saying, Hareini Nazira Ibniftach Ani, I will become a Nazir. His door opens. So we will have to have a mahalach in terms of this Mishnah. The Gemara is really going to have two different shatim of how to explain the Mishnah. That is today's daf. So this is the statements. And Beishama Aimim Nazir, Beisil Aimim Ein Nazir. Now, our Mishnah. One second.
His cow told him
Yes.
to be a Nazir.
Yes. So that's what I said as you came in. So thank you. So we say over here. So this Mishnah is very similar to the previous Mishnah. So the previous Mishnah, there was a statement. A person says, "I'm a Nazir from figs," and we had a machlekes between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. And once again, Beis Shammai says in this scenario, right, where the cow is saying "Hareini Nazira," right? If I stand up, we'll explain what it means. So Beis Shammai says he's a Nazir. And Beis Hillel Aimrim ain't a Nazir. Beis Hillel says, no, it doesn't work. And Amar Rabbi Yehuda, and says Rabbi Yehuda, and once again, Rabbi Yehuda jumps in like he did in the previous Mishnah, and he says, no, I'm Shamar Beis Shammai. Even though that what Beis Shammai says, it's effective. Right? He's saying when this para is to me a carbon if it stands up. In other words, the cow is forbidden to me. All right, so it's not a form of Nazirus, rather it's a form of nether where he's prohibiting the cow. Similarly, we had Rabbi Yehuda in the previous Mishnah where he said a person says, I'm a Nazir from figs. He's not actually a Nazir, according to Beis Shammai, says Rabbi Yehuda. Rather, what he's doing is he's actually forbidding himself from figs, right? And this Nazir was like a lashon of nether over there. So that was very similar machlokes, the case in the previous Mishnah of I am a Nazir from figs, to this case of this cow standing up or this door opening. We don't know exactly what it means. So ask the Gemara. Let's see the Gemara now. Now the Gemara is going to explain, literally, today's daf is explaining this Mishnah. There'll be two mahal. So para become a Mishnah. I understand. Does a cow talk? What's going on here? So Amar, so Rabbi Rechama is going to give the first teretz. I think Rabbi is the second teretz. So Amar Rabbi Rechama hacha b'mayaskinan kigoyin shahaisa para ravutza lefanav. There was a cow. It was sitting lazily on the floor and on the ground, and it wasn't going to get up. The Amar Kasvura Parazu Ani Medes, and he's thinking, okay, in this cow's mind, the cow is saying, I'm not getting up, right? So Kasvura Parazu Ani Medes, and therefore Hareini Nazir Mipsara Im Amda Me'aleha. Behold, I will become a Nazir, right, from its basar, from its meat, right? If it gets up on its own, the amda me'aleha, and the animal indeed gets up on its own. So v'halchu Beis Shammai l'shitasa, and Beis Shammai goes l'shitasa, u'Beis Hillel l'shitasa, and Beis Hillel goes l'shitasa. So, like the previous, right? So meaning what? Beis Shammai d'amri mina groigres mina devei lo havi nazir. Beis Shammai says when a person says, I'm going to go ahead and become a nazir from figs, he actually becomes a Nazir. Nothing to do with figs. He's a Nazir from wine, from tuma, from cutting hair, but he's a Nazir. So to Rav Mishnah, when he says, I'm a Nazir from its flesh, he's saying, I'm a Nazir, period. You want to throw in mina para from Bipsara, that doesn't affect the first part of the statement, and I'm already stuck with that. Beis Hillel, I'm living Nazir. Beis Hillel says, no, you're not a Nazir. And in other words, because you went ahead and you threw in, right? You threw in the statement, all of a sudden you realize I'm a Nazir and you try to get out of it. So you threw out the Pesach. He said, I'm a Nazir from its meat. And there's no such thing as being a Nazir from meat. So therefore, according to Beis Hillel, right, he threw out the Pesach, and therefore the statement is nothing. Now, Okay, very nice. Beautiful shot of the Mishnah, but we just had a previous Mishnah, right? It's the same thing. So what's the chiddush, right? Samarava tarti talas. Yes, we actually need a second and third case, right? Second being the cow, the third being the door. Tarti talas. So to Reb Chia says, yeah, we need 2 or 3 cases. Tarti talas. We need all the cases. Why? If he would just have the first case of the figs, the pressed fig cake, where he says, I'm a Nazi from pressed figs, possible during Beis Shammai having Nazi. Maybe over there, Beis Shammai says you're a Nazir. Why? Because he can go ahead. It makes sense. Something grows from the tree. I can mix up. I can see somebody mixing up grapes and figs. But to basar to go ahead and mix up meat and grapes, right? So maybe he wouldn't switch it, and therefore maybe there would not be Nazirus. I didn't make a bracha before, did I? No. Yeah. So it doesn't make it allowed, right? Now, so however, if it was only meat, maybe meat, you can say like this. Maybe over there in this case, if Beis Shammai say Nazir, why? But maybe wine and meat, the person could confuse, right? I know it was something, fancy. I think it was meat. I'm forbidden from wine, right? It's not, right? Well, Greg has it's vela, but just figs. Then, that's not included. Naziris, Kamash Fulan, that is, both of them would affect Naziris. V'itamar, Hani Tarti. If there was these 2 food products, Hani, who would come to Beis Shammai. Only in these cases, Beis Shammai would say that it's forbidden from meat or from figs. About Delas, but a door. Maybe say, okay, there's no shaychus, maybe we agree with Beis Hillel. So therefore, Vitana Delas, if you just have the case of Delas, Bahak Kamer Beis Hillel. Only maybe in this case would Beis Hillel say it's nothing. Aval Bahak, Tarti the Beis Shammai, Kamash Malon, Delo, that he doesn't go ahead and agree.
What's this about the Dallas?
That he would basically make I'm a Nazir from even from the door, right? If it opens.
Yeah.
Now, that was the first shot. Second shot, that was Ram Barcham. Now comes in Rava. Amar Rava, Miktani im amda me'aleha. Right? Does it say over there, right, that if the animal gets up on its own, or your shot was if the animal gets up on its own, he's frustrated. Ela Rava could go in shahaisa.
The word changed the language.
Right. The Mishnah, right? Because the Mishnah, Haparazu Haredi Nazira Ima Medes, right? But there's no Me'aleha. We're still going to see Me'aleha is going to be the one that's going to be thrown in. Now, so Elam Arava Kigon Shahaisa Paravutza Lefanav. The Amar Hare Alai Karma. And he says, behold, right, I'm going to basically bring from this animal a carbon if it gets up. So Gemara says, wait, slow down. So para bas carbon. I understand. Okay, if the animal gets up, you're going to bring a carbon from it. Okay, and even though normally bring lambs at the end of the Naziris, you don't necessarily go ahead and bring a para. People do bring other carbonos along with their Naziris, but it's a bas carbon, right? It's in the parsha of carbon. Eladelis bas carbon, right? You can't go ahead, right? The door, I guess technically maybe a wood offering, right? But it's not a bas carbon. Yeah, no, it's ready and clean, right? So Ella Amarava Kigain Shahaisa Paravusa Lafana. Okay, rather this is the shot. This cow is lying on the ground. Lafana. Va'amar. And he says, Hareini Nazir Miyayin Imloi Amda. Now the guy is very frustrated. And this cow is basically thinking, right? And in his mind, he's saying, this is what the cow is saying to itself. I ain't standing up, right? And by that I'm gonna prove to you I'm gonna be basically I'm gonna be a Nazir, like the cow is gonna be a Nazir. And he said, no. He's like basically having a conversation with himself and what he thinks is going on in the cow's mind. And he's saying, no, one of 2 things. Either I'm going to get this cow to stand up, or I'm gonna be a Nazir. Okay, because the cow is saying, I'm not standing up, and to prove that I'm going to be Nazir, the cow is not going to be Nazir if I don't stand up. And he said, no. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to stand it up, and if not, I'm going to be Nazir. That's what he's saying.
Stand up forever? Like never going to stand up?
No, just, right now he's lazy. He's getting it out. You got to move it, yeah. So I'm harin is me. I need to land the amda. Now the amda may allow. It gets up on its own. Now his whole thing was, I'm gonna stand it up because this animal is stubborn, not getting it up. And all of a sudden, the animal gets up on his own. He didn't do anything. Now, Beis Shammai Savri Turufi Haide Gabra Mishum Ukuviyadu. Here's the essence of his statement: was I'm going to go ahead and stand it up, and then everything will be fine. But he didn't stand it up, and since he didn't stand it up, and therefore he becomes a Nazir, according to the first shot of the Mishnah, right? Right, for the Tanna Kamma's understanding the Machlokes. No, his essence wasn't that he was going to do the avodah. His essence was the cow was going to go ahead and stand. So even though the cow got his own, so therefore it stood. Therefore he doesn't have to go ahead and become a Nazir. See, Hachi, a Seifa. I understand. Let's look at the Seifa. So Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Af Shamru Beis Shammai. Even so, it says Rabbi. So by the way, look at that in the Mishnah. It says even with that which Beis Shammai says Lo Yamru Ela B'Ayme Harei Lai Karban Para, right? Because I understand. According to your lashon, the whole thing was he has to use a lashon like it's usher to like a korban, right? But over here, there's no lashon over here of asering anything, right? There's no flesh being usher to him, right? No, Rabbi Yehuda does not argue with the Tanna Kamma as to the verbiage of the machlokes being Beis Hillel Beis Shammai, right? It's the same scenario. The only question is it Nazirus or is it Nether, right? But over here, right, Rabbi Yehuda is saying that he's talking about when the meat is like the meat is also like a korban. But over here, we're not talking about the meat being also the animal being also the korban. We're just talking about if the animal's standing up or not. Does that trigger Nazirus? And according to Rabbi Yehuda, it should be, does that trigger Nadarim? But it doesn't say Harei like korban. So me come matis b'midi. So Ella, rather, in order to go ahead and have this machlokes, the Tanna Kamma's understanding of the machlokes and Rabbi Yehuda's understanding of machlokes without changing the lashon of this individual, El Kagayin Damar Hareini Nazir B'Psara in Lo Amda. He says, okay, I am a Nazir from its flesh, right? From its basar, right? Like a person saying, I'm a Nazir from figs, right? I am a Nazir from its flesh. If it in Lo Amda, if I don't get it up, right? If I don't stand it up. The Amda Mi'Allah. And sure enough, he doesn't stand up. It stands up on its own. The essence of his statement was, I'm going to go ahead and be Nazir from its basar if I don't stand up, and he didn't stand it up. So therefore, you have to go ahead and be a Nazir from its basar. And how does a Tanna Kamma understand being a Nazir from its basar? It means you're a Nazir, right? No, the essence of was that he wants the Haggav Mishum de Revai because it was down on the ground that he wants it to get up. The Hakam said it got up. Wait, so the Gemara says, wait, slow down for a second. Maybe Sabri, Eli Kamas having Nazir. Wait, so according to you, the only reason why Beis Shammai is because it didn't trigger. So you're telling me if he would have gotten it up, right? Then, right, or if he didn't, then if it wouldn't have gotten up, then he would have been a Nazir, right? Right? They hold that even if everything worked out, but if the statement was, I'm a Nazir from its basar, it's nothing according to Beis Hillel, right? Beis Hillel sounded the way we just explained it. It was the reason why Beis Hillel said like that is because it got up on itself, right? So that was the reason. So technically it was fulfilled because it got up, right? But that's not why it wasn't a Nazir. According to Beis Hillel, the reason why it's not a Nazir is because if you ever make a Nazirus from basar, it's nothing. So rather, the Gemara says, no, l'tamai the Beis Shammai kamri, right? No, they're saying to Beis Shammai l'shitasam. According to you guys, l'tamai hu the Beis Shammai. The Kamri says l'dida, and according to you guys, I feel like comes to nami lehavi, right? According to you guys, even if it doesn't stand up, it shouldn't it shouldn't be anything, right? And so excuse me, sorry. L'didan to us, I feel like comes to nami lehavi nazir. Even to us, if it doesn't get up, it's not a nazir because once again, you can't be a nazir from basar. However, l'didu, according to you guys, that means havi nazir that you would say it's a nazir. Idlamiyas the tarfei the hadin gabra, right? Now over here in this case. Really, you should say it's nothing, right? Because your whole thing was that the essence was that the Hadin Gavin Mishum the review because it was on the ground, but then it got up, And so therefore, since Lamaisa got up, who cares whether you did it or not? It should be okay. Ubei Shammai said, no, this is not true. No, the whole thing was that it was only going to trigger if he didn't do it with his hands, if he didn't force it to stand up. And since he didn't force it to stand up, therefore it didn't stand up, and therefore he has to become a Nazir according to Beis Shammai, and therefore it will be the same achugas as we saw in the previous Mishnah, that if you say I'm a Nazir from meat, it means you're a Nazir according to Beis Shammai, and the way Rabbi Yehuda's explanation is, if I'm a Nazir from its meat, it means I am Asur from its meat, and I'm not a Nazir. All right, we'll stop here. Shkoyach, everybody. Tomorrow.